What if the problem isn't you? What if that deep, nagging discomfort you've been blaming on yourself for years is coming from a structure you never even chose? Most of us, when something feels wrong, immediately look inward. We think the fault must be personal. We're not disciplined enough, not grateful enough, not ambitious enough. So we adjust. We push harder. We optimize our lives trying to fix the person we believe is broken. But we rarely pause long enough to consider a more radical idea. What if the discomfort isn't coming from within you at all? What if it's coming from the very environment you were trained to accept as normal? This invisible prison has no bars, no walls. It doesn't announce itself with sirens or threats. It works quietly, subtly, shaping your world before you even know what's happening. It teaches you what a reasonable life looks like. It defines which dreams are realistic and which questions are acceptable to ask. Most of this conditioning happens when we're young, through repetition, through the praise and criticism of others, through the subtle cues of approval and disapproval. Over time, it becomes familiar, and because everyone around you is operating within the same invisible structure, it doesn't feel imposed. It feels obvious. It feels like reality itself. So you adapt without realizing you're adapting. You start to silence certain thoughts, the ones that feel too big or too strange. You lower the volume on your innate curiosity. You trade depth for safety, authenticity for acceptance. Not because someone held a gun to your head and forced you, but because standing apart from the crowd feels terrifyingly isolating. So you learn to blend in. You learn to fit the mold. And that discomfort you feel, that ache in your soul, that's friction. It's the friction between the expansive, limitless being you truly are and the narrow, constricted version of yourself you were trained to maintain. It's the sound of your true self trying to break free. The system, this invisible prison, doesn't actually want you to be miserable. It just wants you to be functional, predictable, manageable. It wants you to be busy enough, chasing the next goal, the next milestone, that you never have time to question the structure you're living inside. And for a while, it works. You chase the goals they told you to want. You hit the milestones society applauds. You receive the rewards, the money, the status, the approval. You build a life that looks successful from the outside. But slowly an unsettling feeling begins to creep in. A sense of emptiness. A feeling that something is profoundly hollow, even when you have everything you thought you wanted, and you don't know why. You can't put your finger on it, but the feeling persists. That feeling that is the first crack in the wall of your prison. And cracks are how the light gets in. The prison begins to lose its power the very moment you see it for what it is. It doesn't happen dramatically. It's not an explosion or an overnight escape. It's a quiet internal shift. The moment you notice the structure, the moment you become aware of the programming, it can no longer define you unconsciously. You begin to see the strings. You start to recognize the patterns of thought and behavior that aren't truly yours. And once something becomes visible, it can no longer control you in the same way. This is the beginning of your awakening. It's the moment you stop trying to fix the person and start questioning the prison. You realize that your discontent was never a sign of your failure. It was a sign of your spirit's refusal to be caged. It was a call from a deeper part of you, a part that remembers what it's like to be free. This path isn't about fighting the system or tearing it down. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who you should be. It's a journey back to your own inner authority, your own truth. You start to ask different questions. Instead of "what's wrong with me?" you ask, "is this reality I've accepted even real?" Instead of "how can I fit in better?" you ask, "what am I here to express that is uniquely mine?" You begin to pull your energy back from the external world of approval and validation and reinvest it into your own inner landscape. You explore your own consciousness. You listen to the quiet whispers of your intuition that you had learned to ignore for so long. This process can feel disorienting As the old structures of belief fall away, you might feel lost for a time. The world you once knew looks different. The people you once related to may not understand the changes you're going through. This is a sacred part of the journey. It's the space between worlds, where you let go of the old identity before the new one has fully formed. It requires courage. It requires trusting in something greater than your conditioned mind. Trusting in the universe and source and the intelligence of your own soul. As you continue to walk this path, you start to see that the prison was never truly solid. It was an illusion, a collective agreement that you unconsciously bought into. And the key to your freedom was always inside you. It was your awareness. Your attention is your power. Where you place your focus, you place your reality. By withdrawing your belief from the prison, you dissolve its walls. You reconnect with a sense of wonder, a feeling of being connected to everything. The ordinary world becomes magical again. A sunset isn't just a sunset. It's a cosmic masterpiece. A conversation isn't just an exchange of words. It's a meeting of souls. You realize that you are not just a person living a life. You are consciousness itself, experiencing a human journey. You are a piece of the universe that has become aware of itself. And the discomfort you felt was simply your soul's invitation to wake up from the dream and remember the magnificent truth of who you are. This awakening isn't an endpoint, it's a beginning. It's the start of a life lived from a place of authenticity, purpose, and deep unshakable freedom. The moment you see the prism, you are already free. Follow for more.